It is mid to late September. It's one of my favorite times to knit, and unfortunately I don't have anything I feel too excited about on my needles. I've been itching to order a sweater quantities of yarn and cast on something new, but I think if I'm honest with myself, the best thing I should work on right now is finishing up some of my WIPS. And if there's one thing this YouTube channel has been good for, it's been seeing some of my projects through and making a commitment and sticking to it. So I am going to commit to finish most of my WIPS before I order any new yarn and cast on anything new. We're heading into fall winter. It's such a lovely time to knit and work on projects. So I'm hoping that will give me the motivation to see some of these old projects through and possibly come up with some new things to use old stash yarn for. So I'm gonna go through everything I have with you today. It'll probably be one of my shorter updates, but let's get started. So the first project that I'll share is the Levitate wrap by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I am knitting this likely in a size medium in Issayer yarn. I'm using their EcoSoft and Mohair. I'll put the names of the colors on the screen because I can't remember. I had it in my mind that all I needed to do to finish this sweater was all the banding, so the double knitted band that goes around the neck, and then also the double knitted band that goes around the bottom and forms the ties. And I have a feeling it's going to take me some time to do that, and I don't feel that excited about it. Hopefully it's one of those things that seems like it's going to be worse than it is. It is knitted on either size 5 or size 6 needles, so it should knit up pretty quickly. But that is one of my projects I have on the go. I've got lots of yarn left to finish this. It would be lovely to have for sort of Christmas and early winter, New Year's Eve type dinners or anything that I have to go to. It has a real sort of like soft feminine feeling to it, which I think would be really nice for special occasions over the winter. So that is the Levitate wrap, and I am committed to finishing it sometime soon. The next thing I wanted to show you was a sweater that I am not using a pattern for. I had bought this yarn. It's the Knitting for Olive Merino in the color Elderflower and fennel seed, and I saw someone do stripes with this color combination, and I wanted to melange the two yarns together. I was gonna knit the melange sweater from Petite Knit, but I ended up not being quite happy with the fit. I actually think I have it started, but never carried on with it, and then just started something new. So this sweater is a mix between, oh, I do have it. Here is the start of the melange, and as always with Petite Knit sweaters, I always feel like they're gonna look a little bit too small, so I never really carried on with this. But I do also have, so I probably won't finish that, but I am going to finish this, which is a mix between the Gallant sweater from Kadri and sort of the cloud sweater from Petite Knit. So it is a raglan, and I've got a little bit of, I guess, a decorative stitch going down there. It's just 2 knit stitches in between the raglan increases. I did the neck from the Gallant because on the cloud sweater, it's drop shoulder and then you pick up the neck last, but I started with the neck on this one, knit down and then worked into the raglan. And then for the bottom, I just did similar on the cloud sweater. I did a little bit of rib stitching and then a little bit of knit stitching and then just cast off in a simple bind off just to get that little bit of a rolled hem. So obviously I just have the sleeves to go on this one. I've already started the sleeves. Yeah, I wasn't feeling that excited about this, but a friend tried it on at a knitting night and it looked really nice on her. So it's actually a nice sort of lighter weight. It's, I guess, DK because the 2 yarns held together. So Definitely need to finish that one because it's something I will wear. I also have this sweater that I started ages ago. It is in Knitting for Olive merino, and I believe it's called plum clay is the color. And then, oh yeah, it's plum clay. And then I also have their soft silk mohair in the same color. So it's just a muted dark purple color. And I started the Petite Knit Sunday sweater in this yarn. And yeah, again with Petite Knit, I'm sure I'm making the size medium. I'm making the size for my bust, but I always feel like they end up being a little bit on the small side. But actually now looking at this, I haven't pulled it out of the bag in quite some time, but I actually feel a little bit excited about it, which is actually great. It's a really nice weight, so it's just one strand of each, so I guess equivalent to a DK-ish. Yeah, and I've just got the sleeves to do, so it shouldn't be too bad to finish this up. Hopefully, I can block it out to be a little bit bigger and longer. Yeah, so Petite Knit Sunday sweater, Knitting for Olive, plum clay, merino, and soft silk mohair, and just need to finish the sleeves on this one. So I think that is all my sweaters that I have, or all my winter sweaters that I should really prioritize getting done. But I do also have, and I've shared these all in recent videos, but I have my Olga sweater by Petite Knit that I am redoing the neckline in. So that is priority number 1, and it's going pretty good, getting the neckline looking a little bit neater. I still don't think it's perfect, but I'm sure it will be good enough. I don't want to talk too much about this one because I have talked about it in my recent videos, but it's the Olga sweater by Petite Knit in Knitting for Olive cotton merino in the color wheat. And I am working on this right now, so it should really only take me a couple days to get that done. I also have my clay tee in Knitting for Olive cotton merino in the color bark. So I am going to give myself a little bit of grace with this project and the next one I share, just because they are cotton and definitely better and more geared towards what I wear in the summer. So I don't think there's a huge rush to get these ones finished as there is with sort of the wool ones. I think at the end of this video, I'll quickly put them all into a priority order and then just work through them in that order. And then if I get to these 2 cotton projects and I want to order some more yarn, I probably will at that point. But or maybe I'll just feel really on the roll with finishing WIPS and I won't, but I will give myself some grace with these ones if I don't want to finish them until next spring. I'll share with you, this is my project bag that I use. I'll definitely put a link to it. It's a great bag. I can usually fit a few projects in there, and all my kind of notions and stuff are just floating around in there. But is one of the bags that I store my knitting projects in and my knitting projects to go. So the other cotton one that I was going to share is blouse number 2, I believe, My Favorite Things Knitwear. I did talk about this in my last video. Knitting for Olive, cotton merino in the color wheat. I'm just using leftover balls of yarn from my Olga sweater. So I will have to order some new yarn for this one. I just put it on a really short cable, but I will have to order some more balls of yarn for this one. So I don't know, might just leave that until next spring, but we'll see how I feel. And I really only have 2 more. So that is the little baby sweater that I showed in a previous wardrobe update. This is the Moby sweater by Petite Knit. I'm making it for my cousin's young boy who turned 1 in August. This is probably pretty high up in the priority list because I would like to see him wear it. And if I don't get it done this year, it probably wouldn't be right for him. So I need to get that one finished. It's double Sunday, so Sadness Garn double Sunday, and I'll be sure to put the color on the screen. But yeah, committed to finishing this one so that he can actually wear it this winter. And one more, I think, and then just a few different yarns. So the last one is this scarf. It's by My Favorite Things Knitwear. It's similar to the Sophie scarf, but it does have this all over pattern to it, which I'm knitting it up in Lang Cashmere Premium, and the color is 780233. It's a really lovely, it's a chain yarn, I guess you would call it. And yeah, I think that the last time I picked this up, I may have made a mistake in one of the most recent few rows, and then I got discouraged and just set it aside. And now I can't even really remember what was going on. So this will take a little bit of work to get going again. I have to say, I'm not really the biggest fan of blue. I purchased this yarn back in February, and we had like a few weeks of heavy snow on the ground, and this color, I don't know, it just worked then. So I don't feel that excited about wearing blue, but I should definitely finish it because it's some really lovely yarn. I did buy enough to do a pair of little fingerless gloves. My Favorite Things Knitwear has a pattern that matches this scarf. I'll be sure to put them both on the screen. I think that's all my active WIPs. I do have some yarn that I purchased, I guess it was this summer at the 100 Mile Fiber Festival, which is a fiber festival in my area. I purchased some hand-dyed yarns. I have mentioned them on this channel before, but this is Simply Fiber by Nicole, and it is her non-superwash baby alpaca, merino, and cotton. And it's just like a very cozy, fluffy yarn. I was going to make another gallant sweater. A friend of mine had made one really similar out of a similar yarn. So I've got 4 skeins of this, and yeah, I probably shouldn't buy yarn before I work with this. I did buy this hand spun skein. I think I might have 2, and it's a real kind of hodgepodge of different fibers in there. I'll be sure to put a close-up photo. I thought about making like just a little toque, or, you know, because I don't have that much, but I should probably just swatch it, see what the fabric looks like, and kind of get an idea for the gauge that I'd like to work with it, and then see if I can find some sort of pattern to work this up in. So I've got those 2 yarns. Yeah, I don't know that everybody will resonate with this advice or this thought, just that I think I would feel better if I was really intentional about my purchases. And as you all know, buying yarn for a project can be quite expensive, and I just don't feel great about buying more yarn when I have these projects on the go. About a year ago, I did a big yarn de-stash. It was before I had this channel, and I ended up just giving away a lot of yarn, a little tote box worth, and a few other things to a friend. And then she is quite connected in the knitting community, and I think dispersed it out to other people. So that felt good to sort of clear out old yarn. I have only been knitting for a few years, so it's taken me some time to figure out exactly what I like in terms of fiber. I had some superwash yarn that I gave away, and perhaps some yarn that wasn't even natural materials. So it takes us some time to figure out what we like, but actually this one is a good example of now picking it up possibly at the right time of year or when I'm in the right mood, and now I feel kind of excited about this one. So It's maybe not a bad idea to set things aside and just store them safely so that when you go and pick them up again, they're still workable. So yeah, I just feel as though it's what's right for me now is to tackle some of these unfinished projects. And like I said, this YouTube channel has really helped me see projects through to their completion, or at least continue working on them. So I think by making a commitment on here, it might help me sort of finish some of these things. So this is a yarn that I've got. And then I guess I wanted to just ask the knitting community who watches my videos, what do you do with yarn that is left over from an old project? For example, like these 3 skeins of yarn. I don't live close to the shops that I bought them from, so I would have to ship them back if I wanted to try and get a refund for them. Yeah, sometimes I find by the time I knit the project or decide the project, order the yarn, knit it, it's been quite a bit of time and it doesn't really feel right to be sending yarn back, although I probably could. But I end up with just like unopened skeins of yarn that is quite nice yarn that I don't really have any project for. I'm not the biggest fan of knitting hats and scarves and toques. I get a lot more enjoyment out of knitting sweaters. So I think I've held on to them thinking that I would knit a smaller project out of them. But this is Issair Tweed in the color Lime. This is the same, it's Issair Tweed in the color Oak. And yeah, I just don't have any plans for this. I suppose I don't have that much because like I said, I've given away quite a bit of yarn, but I do have a few small bags like this filled with nice quality yarns that would be nice to use up. But yeah, if anybody has any ideas for that, I know people do scrappy projects, and I'm sure I could probably try and figure out toques, which is what I will probably end up using it for. Perhaps nice to use for making gifts for people. Yeah, but feel free to comment if you think you have a good idea for me and my yarns that are left over from projects. I do not want to play yarn chicken. It's just not, I just like to know that I have enough to finish a project. So I often order a little bit more than I need, or I order what the pattern recommends, and I haven't really run into a situation where I haven't had enough yarn. If anything, I end up with too much. So there's a few more things here. I've got a little mohair from Issair. I love this color. Yeah, I think, what about knitting like 2 strands of this and just doing like a little sweater like the Gallant, they're the Gallant from Kadri would be nice. And I've got the double Sunday to finish up the baby sweater. And these are some leftover Sadness garns in Peer Gynt, in I believe the color Camel. I had knit a petite knit sweater out of these, which I'm now finished with, but I have these 2 balls left. And yeah, I think that's about it. This is left over from a baby toque. I figured I would keep it, and it's Double Sunday by Sadness Garn in the color 7720. And I figured I could use it as like an accent color, maybe on another baby project. So I have that. Yeah, I end up with some balls of yarn that don't really have a project queued up for them, which I don't really love. I tend to just like to buy the yarn, make the thing, and then move on. I don't like to store too much stuff, and this is not a lot, and I know people have much bigger stashes, but this already is feeling like a little bit too much for me. So that is the point of this whole video. There's one thing I didn't share, and it's the socks. It's because I have them in a different bag that I don't have access to right now, but I do have a little pair of socks on the go, which are also a big priority. Okay, so if I was to put these in order, I would say finishing up the Olga, working on the baby sweater, the melange sweater just because it is lighter weight and could be like nice just transitioning into winter. I think I'll work on this because it's further along than the Levitate wrap. Then I would work on the Levitate, then this little scarf, and I think that's it. Aside from the 2 cotton projects, I suppose then I could work into this. I don't know for sure if that's the order that I will stick with, but that's my idea for now. So thank you for watching this video. I'm committed to finishing my WIPS before I cast anything on, so hopefully you guys can hold me to that. And I'll definitely share the progress updates and perhaps one video just to wrap them all up once I'm finished. But I don't know the timeline. I'd love to think I could get them done in a month, but that might be a little bit ambitious. So we shall see, and thank you for watching, and I hope this inspires you to pick up a WIP of your own and knit along with me. Thanks!